Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bench fold card. I've been requested by a fellow crafter if I do a video to show how this is made. And it was a bit of a challenge because trying to work out all the sizes of all the bits and pieces of the paper, but I'm really pleased I stuck with it because I think this is absolutely gorgeous and I hope you do too. This is the first one that I made, so that was what I call my prototype, and on the back of that I did that, so there was somewhere to write on it, but I wasn't totally happy with that. So what I did on the second one, I did that because I felt that that ties in nicely with the front of the card. Okay, you may have your own ideas, which if you do, please do share on my Facebook page, my group, which is called Happy Crafting. I'd love to see what you come up with. I'm going to stick to exactly the same design here, and I have done some of the bits ahead of time because I'm not quite sure how long this is going to take. But it is really quite easy, and yes, it does fold to go into one of our regular envelopes, and all you need to do is to pop the shelf up and then it will close like that, and that goes into one of our standard envelopes. Okay, in fact let me do that because it's so close to the edge and the bottom there you can't really see it. Okay, and I do think it will also go into the US, North American size envelopes, because this measures 5.5 inches and I think you're 5 3/4, and up here it's 4 1/4 inches and you're 4 3/8. It might be a bit tight on the height, in which case you could just make this a little shorter. But you have a look, see what you think. The little vases there, I've put those there apart from the fact that it looks quite nice as a bit of decoration. You may decide to add some flowers onto that. The stamps that I used is the vibrant vases, and I've done those too. But there are little flowers, so you may be able to stamp those and fussy cut them or something, which look rather nice. But I've popped those up on dimensionals so that it will keep this shelf in place. You could do it when we come to adhering that bit. You could decide to go your own way and do that once this bit is in place so that you can make that lower. But your choice. Again, this one I've put the vases on dimensionals and then just put my fingers inside, pull this back a little bit, this side here, and then just push that up. So that will close. And what you have inside here is there's a support, so that's what stops your shelf going too far down. But I felt that it needed something to stop the vases coming up. I have viewed several videos or other people's videos, see how this is made, and I've picked out the bits and pieces that I like. I've added my own touches in a couple of places as well, so I don't really feel that I can give credit to anybody in particular. I don't like upsetting people by not acknowledging them, but there were just too many really to acknowledge here, so if it was one of your videos, thank you very much. So I'm going to start off with by telling you the card pieces that you're going to be needing. So if I put those there, I have worked out the measurements in metric, but I'm not going to say them now because there are just so many, it would be just a bit too confusing. So you may want to get those measurements before you actually start watching. I don't know how you work it like this. So, right. Let me tell you the card pieces you're going to need. This is lovely lipstick, and this measures 8 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Another piece of lovely lipstick which measures 5.5 inches by 3 inches. Another piece of lovely lipstick which measures 4 inches by 1 3/4, and that is, oh yes, okay. I thought that's never going to be the right size, but yes it is. That's 4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. And then you need 6 drawer fronts, 6. Oops, it looks as if I'm going to be one drawer front missing. Okay, I'll just work without that one then. So there's 6, oh there it is, hiding, 6 of these, and they measure 1 1/8 inches by 1/2 inch. So that's 6 of those, and then you need 3 of these, which are 1/2 inch again, and they are 2 7/8 inches. And then for the designer series paper, you need 2 pieces that measure 1 1/8 inches by 2 1/2 inches, and 1 piece that measures 2 7/8 inches by 2 1/2 inches. You need something for your little mat on the table here. Now what I have done is I went through all my dies, sets of dies, and I die cut everything that I found. In fact, this isn't going to be quite big enough, is it? Well, that doesn't matter, as long as you... That's it. Okay, so these are all the ones that I found. Now some of them, like that one there, it's too big. That one there was too big as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these down. I'll write the stamp sets, the sets of dies that they come from. Then I'll photograph it and put it on my blog Sunday morning, 12th of April 2020. So if you want to check them out, you can. Now that one there is 2 pieces, which I feel that you could probably adhere together to make a lacy little mat. And also that one you could cut 2 of those and adhere them together. But as you can see, I had a lot of fun doing that bit. So I am using this one, which is from the Stitched Nested dies, and that is die number 1. That's the smallest one, so you need that. And for the mirrors, I've used Smokey Slate, the scalloped dies, and the size of the dies that I've used, right, oval, I can't see where I've written that down. Yes, I have, Smokey Slate. So the scallop one for the mirror, that is die number 5. And in case you're new to the way I do my dies, okay, scallops are number 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that one there? And there's one of those. You want 2 of these, which are the layering oval dies. Now I've used the smallest one there, so that is number 1. You want 2 of those. And for the bit on the back, I've used that, which is number 7. It's the biggest one. To me, the bigger the die, the bigger the number, or smaller the die, smaller the number. And this is from the Stitched Shaped dies, and that is the largest one, and I've done that in Whisper White. And the silver, I have done the, let me just check before I tell you, silver foil stitched is number 1, 2 pieces. Okay, so the silver foil is Stitched Shapes number 1, all this information will be in the box below. The circle, that is die number 2. You just need one of those. And that's all you need for the silver foil. And it's the 4 pieces that you need with the Smokey Slate. You need that one in the Whisper White. And I've done 2 vases, but I'm going to do one with you. As you can see, I get nice black dark lines around my vases, and I want to show you how I do that. A lot of you would have already seen me do that, but I am always aware that I do have new crafters watching me. So I'm going to do one piece at a time here, and the piece I'm going to do first is the large piece of Lovely Lipstick, and I'm going to use my scoreboard for scoring here. It's a lot easier for me to see, and I imagine it's probably easier for you to see as well. So we are going to score at 1 1/4 inches, 2 1/2 inches. I'm going to turn the cardstock 180 degrees. We're going to score at 1 1/4 inches and 2 1/2 inches. Now I have found that it is much easier to decorate these pieces as you go along. So first of all, fold up on the inside fold that one upwards and give it a good burnish, and then fold that one back. Make sure it lines up nice and straight, and then give that a good burnish, and then do the same on the other side. And then fold that one back. Okay, so you finish up with that design. Now you will find what's missing from this one is the Whisper White layer that I normally put between this and the underneath. I decided that I thought it was going to be too fiddly, and then what would I do when I come down to where I do have the white? So I decided no, that wasn't a particularly good idea. So I'm going to adhere these on using Tombow, and the length that I've given you on these will go below this piece here. And the reason I did that was if I wanted it to come down just as far as that layer, I was going to have to give you a length of 2 7/16 of an inch. And I do really try hard not to give you 16ths. And this fitted in quite nicely with doing this bit first. Okay, so one piece goes on here. Just leave yourself a nice even gap all the way round. And then the large piece. The design series paper that I'm using on this one is called Best Dressed. The one that I used on here was Oasis something, Tropical Oasis, and this is obviously from the I've forgotten. Oh, Magnolia Lane, of course. Should have known that by the flowers. But I think using these bigger bigger designs, it really surprised me that it works nicely, because I would have thought the designs were too big. You wouldn't be able to see enough of them. But I think you can. That's better. One of these days I'm going to get hold of that and pull it, and it's going to come away in my hand. I just hope it doesn't happen when I'm doing a video. Okay, so just try and make sure you've got a nice even gap all the way round and that you've got the same gap going across there. Oops. There we go. I'm going to put my mirrors on as well. Now this is a bit where I said if you want to use this as the stopper for your shelf, don't put this one on yet. Wait until you have got it in situ and you can make sure you get it in the right place. But I am putting mine on, and I know from experience that I have got to adhere this so there's just a little bit of the Designer Series paper showing from the top there. Just make sure these two sides are even. I'll bring this up close so you see how much gap I've left at the top there. Okay. And now to do these ones, this is smaller, so what I want is to have this centred in there. I don't want it right at the top or right at the bottom. So what I do to help me, I close this over. Okay, so then I can eyeball it. It's probably not perfect. And then I'm going to do the same to adhere the other one as well. And just make sure that that looks about the same as that one. And you've got the same gaps either side there. So that looks very good. I'm happy with that. Now the next piece we need to work on is the middle size piece. And again, you want your, in fact we could have done all the scoring in one go, never mind. In fact, let's just do both of these pieces, shall we? Okay, so this is the piece that measures 5.5 by 3.5. You need to put your 3.5 up there first. No, it's 5.5 by 3. And you need to score at 1.25. And the piece that you've got 1.25, which is the piece where I've got my fingers, make that go towards the top. And then you need to score at 1.25 and 4.25. Okay, so you finish up with the 2 squares at the end there and an oblong in the middle. Okay, and then this one you need to score at 1/2 inch on the long side, which is 4 inches. So score it at 1/2 inch, turn it 180 degrees and do 1/2 inch again. Okay, so that really is all the scoring you need to do. Now we put the small piece to one side and we take the medium sized piece. What you need to do is fold on the long score line and give it a good burnish. Now what you need to do is to cut out those squares. And what you need to do with these is on the up line where you're going down as... I didn't say that, did I? I just said 1/4. Yes, I did. Score it down to the score line. Don't remember saying that. Anyway, let's carry on. The score line here, you need to cut off. So cut right on the very edge of it. So the score line, the dip, finishes up on that side. And again, along here, cut the score off right as close to the score line as you can. I think I've practiced with this a bit too much. Right, again, on this side, cut right against the edge of the score line. Can you see my score line is on there? I don't know if you can. I imagine you can, let's hope you can. And then right against the score line on that side. There we go. So now this is where we're going to put the drawers, the drawer fronts. So I'm going to do these 3 first. As you know, you always have a bit of the dresser unit visible above the drawer, and you also have some visible underneath the drawer. I imagine it's always been in my case. And then one in the middle. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that this is level with this line down here and doesn't go over that line there. Okay, so what I do is I put the first one on at the top. I leave that there as my guide, and then I do that one as the second one. So let's do this first. Come on, that's it. You could use tear and tape for this if you wanted. You will find that your cut line comes just below that score line, so make sure that your drawer is below that cut line. Right, let's do the one at the bottom. You may find it helpful to draw some pencil lines on there so that you stay straight, or you can do it by eyeballing it. There we go. Let's see if that's straight. That looks about right. So let's do this one. And then put that one so you've got an equal distance between the drawers. I did try it and do it so that the top drawer was narrower than the bottom ones, and it really hurt my head. I had to give up. Right, oops, I'm going to do the same again here. And I do recommend when you're cutting such small pieces that you cut a long strip that's 1/2 inch wide, and then just cut off your whatever sizes I said they were. I thought I'd write this out this way because then I would know, but I finished up confusing myself. The drawers 1/8, 1/8 and 2 7/8, isn't it? So you just go along cutting off your 1 1/8 6 times. You probably run out of paper by then, so then just cut another 1/2 inch. It really isn't worth fiddling about. Trying to get little 1/2 inches off of small pieces of paper. Let's push that one back up there. So I'm just looking, trying to make sure that that gap's the same as that gap, and the gap underneath is the same as that gap there. I have to hold that up for a moment. Yes, I think that's the same. You notice I lost one of my fingernails tomorrow, which will be Easter Sunday. I'm going to take some time out and pay attention to my nails, look after them. I'm surprised they've lasted this long there. Right, now I'm trying to make sure that that gap there is the same as that gap there. Oops. Let's do the bottom one. That looks as if I've put too much glue on it, so I'm just going to blot some of it off. When I was checking out videos for this, I saw all sorts of projects. Some people had done like a man's workbench with tools and things on it. I've seen somebody who'd done it as a workstation for a child. Right, so now we've got that. That will fit on there, and that, as you can see, is going to go over what I'm calling the wallpaper. So let's put our brace on. So what you need to do is fold both those 1/2 inches and give a good burnish. Other ideas that I've seen is I've seen somebody hang a little handbag on one of the doorknobs. I've seen somebody hang a hat up here. These could be pictures rather than mirrors. The ideas people have come up with are absolutely amazing. Right, so with your piece of paper like that, so you've got the ends folded backwards away from you, that's going to be adhered in there, and the way we're going to do this is just flatten it out, and you're going to line that side up with that fold, and the bottom you are going to line up with the bottom line here. Okay, So what I suggest you do is just put that a little bit further than you think it needs to go, and then while you're holding this in place, don't hold it too tight, but allow that to push it a bit further away if it needs to. And once you've done that, again, you could use tear and tape for this. Whatever you do, don't use too much Tombow on this one, otherwise you'll find you're sticking your card closed altogether. Okay, so I've avoided going too close to the fold and too close to the edge there. So just pull that down, make sure you're still straight here. And then give that a rub and give it a chance for Tombow to do its job. Okay, so then fold that one down. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Now you see, I don't know if you can see, can you see I've got a slight, that goes up very slightly, you can see the underneath bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just pull that down to make sure it's straight. Okay, more Tombow. And then keeping all of this down flat, press that one over. As I say, just give Tombow a chance to get a grip of that. It's not really very well stuck down, is it? Right, that's better. Okay, so that should be nice and straight down the bottom there. If you find that it isn't, lay one side over and then use your bone folder just to smooth that out. And then do it for the other side as well. This, as you can see, mine's bumping up, but it goes flat when I push that bit down. So there's no real flattening out that it needs. But that's good, I'm happy with that. So the next piece we need to do is to adhere this. And I think it's best to do one piece at a time. So I'm going to put glue on here, and I already made sure that this will come over the wallpaper. So I'm going to take my Tombow up as far as the wallpaper. I'm not going to go over it. And then fill that square in. Well, sorry, put glue in the square. Now when you put this in, you've got to make sure that and that line up with this, and then make sure that this lines up on this side as well. I did try doing both of them at the same time, and let's just say it wasn't a very relaxing piece of crafting. I got in quite a bit of a panic over it. Okay, so that's one piece down. And now, move that one out of the way. And you can put the glue onto this piece. I go right up to the edge there, but I don't deliberately go onto the paper, wallpaper. Okay, so bring that one back, stand it up, and then line it. In fact, you might find it easier to do it like this, but I certainly stand it up to check that I've got it all in place correctly. Okay, so now underneath, or through from the top, you have that, and then this is going to come down on top. Okay, see, mine isn't actually reaching up to the mirror frame, it's just going straight past it. Okay, now right, my little mat, I'm going to adhere it on here. Could have done this bit before if I thought about it. I was amazed when I went through all my dies to find out what dies I had that I could use as like a little doily type thing. To come up with so many, I think it was it 15 of them in the end, which is amazing. So you just go through your dies, see what you have. Now if I'm concentrating, I'm making sure that this is in the middle and with a equal gap top and bottom. I think that one probably needs to come down a bit. Oops. Let's put it in front of the mirror, that'll be easier to see. Yeah, that looks okay. And it looks straight. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the last thing that, oh no. Now on this, what I'm going to recommend you do is just adhere the grey layer, the Smokey Slate layer. And the reason I say that is if you feel that, even without putting the vases on with the dimensionals, that feels bumpy. So to try and write on there, or if you want to stamp a sentiment, that's going to be difficult. So I recommend that you keep this one off until it is all done, whether you've signed it or stamped on it, whatever it is you want to do. Don't put it on immediately. Do I just pop that in the centre? Okay, so that would look something like that. Right, okay, so I'll keep that. And then I'll do the doorknobs last, but I will do these. Have I lost one? I had them earlier, didn't I? I saw them. Well, never mind, I'm going to do one with you anyway. I did, oh, here it is. There we go. So with a scrap of Whisper White, I've showed you the stamp set. These are the two stamps I'm using. Oops, I'm using Stays On and Lovely Lipstick. I'll do this one first. Crikey, that came up dark, didn't it? Not quite dark enough. Well, I'm going to use a dark one anyway. Well, that is going to be a bit wet, isn't it? Oh, okay. I've got two decent ones. I'm going to use that so that I can show you what I do once I've cut it out. I'm going to bring this down. Yeah, you can see that. Not brilliant, but that's fine. For the purposes of what I want to show you, that'll work. So just imagine that I've stamped that absolutely beautifully. It doesn't take too long to fussy cut. As much as I really enjoy fussy cutting, I'm not perfect. And what I do with this, it covers up any mistakes that I make. Okay, so the aim is I try and cut it so that I leave all the black line there. Okay, so then what I do is I take a basic black Stampin' Right marker, and then with my image facing upwards and my brush underneath the image, I just press my brush along the edge all the way around. Now if this was for real, and I don't recommend you do this bit because it's easy to make a mistake, you can go over the top of it, but if you slip, you're going to have to go back to the square one again. And I've got some white showing through there where I didn't stamp it very well. So can you just imagine that that has been stamped perfectly? Can you see how dark the outside of the vase is? Just by filling in your white areas using your marker pen. Okay, that's wonky as well. Good job I'm not using it. Okay, so put that one up there. At least I've shown you how to get a nice black line all the way around. Did you do that one? Yep, you did. Yeah, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a one dimensional on each of these. Take the backing off. Right, so that's in place. I just hold that down onto the, you can feel the brace underneath, so if you just hold that in place, and then just put your vase so that it is touching the shelf. Don't push it down, just, in fact that's not straight, I could see that. Oh well, no, don't worry about it. And then this one I've gone rather close to the edge there. You see? So as long as I make sure I do the same on the other side, then it's not a mistake. Again, let's just hold that in place. Can you see what I'm doing? Yep, I think you can. Let's tilt it slightly, I think. If I go in sideways, hold that. Once I'm happy that that's straight on the shelf, then I let it go down. Okay. So that is not going to move at all now, okay? So what you need to do to open this up is bend that back very slightly, and you've got your finger up the in between the brace and the back, and then pull that back so your finger can just push that bit up, and then it will fold down beautifully. Okay, and close it and just push it so it clicks underneath the two vases, and that's in place perfectly. And the last thing is the door handles. Where is... I think I'm going to have to use these. I can't find my paper piercer. Oh yes, I can see it. Right, the way that I do this, first of all I do the 6 drawers on the sides. As far in the centre as possible. And then the 6 on the other side. That's not right. But what I'm going to do to get this, I'm going to close it and work on it like this. That is much easier. Okay. Now for the ones on the large drawer, I'm going to do it so that the amount of white I have there is going to be the same as the white there. The way I look at it anyway. I think that's straight. So each of the door handles should line up with those and the one above. And then let's try this one. Again, same gap for white to white. If you don't have the metallic pearls, you could paint them. You could paint them any colour that you wanted to. Colour the basic pearls rather, any colour you'd like to. I think that's a bit too close, don't you? That looks a bit better. Yes, that's much better. Okay, so pop that down and there we have it, today's project. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I really, really hope you give this one a try. I've really, really enjoyed working this. It's very, very satisfying, and now I need 3 people to send these to. In fact, why don't I do that? I will send these cards to 3 people that I pick randomly from the comments below the video. Just thinking on the hoof here, am I allowed to do that? I think I am, because I'm not selling projects. If I'm not allowed to do it and your name gets picked, I will find something else. But yeah, it's something that I've made with products, so yeah, I can do it. Okay, so yes, comments in the box below, and I will send these 3 cards out to 3 names picked at random. So that, not done that before, so that's a nice idea, isn't it? It's a great thing, but don't let that put you off of making it though. So many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. In the box below the video I'll also put all the measurements, including the metric, as well as the inches, and I'll put in the score lines where you need to do those, and the products that I've used, everything that I think is important for you to be able to do this project well. And if you've enjoyed my video and like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down in the bottom right hand corner there, and click on the bell so that you get the notifications. And finally, I would like to say, please everybody take care and stay well, and I pray that this coronavirus, the COVID-19, is over with really soon. My thoughts are with you all very much, so please take care, stay safe. Until next time, happy crafting, cheerio.